What is the purpose of marketing? I've been asked that question an awful lot over the course of my career, and not always in a very friendly way. In particular, over the past few years, we as B2B marketers, we've been under an awful lot of pressure to prove marketing and to deliver results. Do we even know what results we're supposed to deliver? I would think that most of us will answer, well, we need to generate leads. We need to deliver revenue. And this is the third and final fallacy of B2B marketing, that the purpose of marketing is to generate leads. Of course, that's one of marketing's many tasks, lead generation. It's the act of identifying specific named contacts who may be ready to buy and passing them along to sales for sales to turn into revenue. But make no mistake, lead generation is not a strategic activity. It is a short-term tactic designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to generate leads, to deliver to sales so that they have a never-ending pipeline of names that they can use to drive and meet their revenue targets. I'm not saying that generating leads is unimportant. Of course it's important. At the risk of oversimplifying, our organizations stay in business by acquiring customers and delivering revenue. But acquiring customers is a process. And in B2B, it's often a very complex and lengthy one with many, many people involved in that decision-making process. Lead generation is only one aspect of marketing. And because we're under all this pressure to prove our value, we tend to ignore all those other elements that are also part of marketing's responsibility. Namely, strategy, segmentation, positioning, brand awareness, and customer insight and engagement. We do a real disservice to ourselves and our profession, as well as the companies we work for, if we define ourselves by our tactics, by the tasks that we do on a day-to-day basis, without understanding our wider role and purpose as marketers. There's a wonderful parable about 3 stonecutters, and it goes something like this. A traveler came across 3 men working in a quarry and asked them, "What are you doing?" The first one stopped what he was doing and said, "I'm making a living." The second one looked up and said, "I'm doing the best job of cutting stones in the entire county." The third one looked up at the sky and said, "I'm building a cathedral." In the context of marketing, the first stonecutter was totally concerned about his output, the stones that he was cutting, the number of stones he was cutting, because he was being paid by the number of stones. The second stonecutter was also concerned about output, but with an added quality dimension. "I'm doing the best job in the entire county." But the third stonecutter looked beyond that. He understood what his specific contribution was to the outcome that the stones would achieve. In other words, a cathedral. Lead generation can be understood in this context as the task fulfilled by the first 2 stonecutters. They have quality and quantity, quotas and standards that they need to meet as directed by the builder and the architect. The third stonecutter, on the other hand, has a real understanding of the purpose of what he is doing. He maintains a focus on what his efforts are achieving over the long term and has real clarity about what his contribution is to that outcome. And this is essentially what we need to define for ourselves as marketers. Are we building a cathedral or are we fashioning stones? Are we fulfilling tasks on a day-to-day basis? Are we just pushing out output, output, output? Or are we clear on the outcome we need to achieve for our business?